Want to talk about the various editions of The Great Controversy, a book by Ellen White. And first we'll talk about what W. W. Prescott, who was a leading scholar in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, had to say about this in the 1911 edition. Now, Willie White, who was Ellen White's son, he didn't believe that Ellen White, his mother's words, were from God. He didn't even believe that the Bible's words were from God. And so he sent out a request for scholars in the church to send in changes that they wanted for the new edition that was planned to be of The Great Controversy. And so W. W. Prescott sent in about half of the suggestions, and many of his suggestions were incorporated into the 1911 edition of The Great Controversy from the 1888 edition. And for example, one of the changes was that the Roman Catholic Church was not part of Babylon in 1888, but it was part of Babylon in 1911, thanks to these changes. But let's see what they have to say about it. W. W. Prescott says, in July 1911, a new edition of Great Controversy came from the presses of the Pacific Press and the Review and Herald. It is often spoken of as a 1911 revision, but he said the term revision is much too broad, and it was really not being revised. The word revision should be avoided, and that basically it was just refined. The word refinement would have been in keeping with what happened. Okay, well, refine, revise, change, whatever, it's basically all the same thing. Do Ellen White's books need to be changed? Now, this is by Arthur White, who was Ellen White's grandson. And he too did not believe his grandmother's words were from God. And so in his book, he says, when the new edition of Great Controversy, this is 1880 edition, was brought out in 1888, there were left out about 20 pages of matter, 4 or 5 pages in a place, which is very instructive to the Adventists of America, but which was not appropriate for readers in other parts of the world. Actually, he's quoting his own father, Willie C. White, in a statement he gave to the General Conference in October 1911. And so we see one such deleted item was pages 337 to 340, being the first part of the chapter titled, The Snares of Satan. So we see that the snares of Satan were seen to not be appropriate to readers in Europe, but they were to readers in America. And this is a letter that A.G. Daniels, who is conference president, he wrote in 1910. Willie White reported, during the last 2 weeks, we have been busily engaged in studying those matters which demanded consideration in connection with the bringing out of the new edition of The Great Controversy. The new edition. Okay, there's a new edition. That sounds like a revision to me. They're taking pains to look up the best English authorities and the historians. And then he makes this very interesting statement. Further than this, there will be very few changes made. In a few places where ambiguous or misleading terms have been used, Mother has authorized a change reading. Okay, so he's saying that he believes his mother, Ellen White, had ambiguous or misleading terms, even misleading terms. You can see he doesn't believe that the words were from God. And last, I want to quote from Ellen White herself. In Manuscript Releases 188 from 1907, they come to me, those that are copying my writings, and say, now here's a better revised words. I think I will put that in. Don't you change one word, not a word. The revised edition we do not need at all. That's pretty clear to me. We don't need. We have got the word that Christ has spoken himself and given us. Don't you in my writings change a word for any revised edition. There will be revised editions, plenty of them, just before the close of this earth's history. And I want all my workers to understand, and I have got quite a number of them, I want them to understand that they are never to take the revised word and put it in the place of the plain, simple words just as they are. They think they are improving them, but how do they know? But that they may switch off an idea and give it less importance than Christ means them to have. She's saying very clearly her words are from Jesus Christ. So let's keep the words, the inspired words in mind. And as far as the Great Controversy goes, there's the 1858 edition, 1884, 1888, and 1911. And let's use the words that God has given us, and may we be prepared for the time of trouble that is soon coming.